He understood the criminal process working with police and FBI, narrowing down suspects. He had instincts that most times were on point. But initially he could not assist with the case because when emotions were high, it got in the way of proper profiling. Years later, he would ask Styles for her assistance. And now he had intern Shelley Sanders to help along with the case. He asked Styles about the inconsistencies in the statements in the files. She could not respond. She only had her head down in silence and disappointment. This chapter is called A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. Brandon Jackson was a wolf in sheep's clothing. How the monster could keep a straight face. Not only had he raped Julianne, but some of the other girls at the foster care residence. Julianne trusted Colette when she was blinded by his charm. The warning signs were burning red and the denial did not part. When his shift came around, Julianne kept a recorder under her pillow. Colette explained to Julianne that she needed evidence. Otherwise, it would just be her word against his. Later on, he checked to make sure they were alone. And he warned Julianne that their relationship was special and people wouldn't understand. She knew it was wrong, and after all, she was just a teenager. Who would believe her? So before I finish reading, I just want to explain that Julianne Styles is the woman working with Dr. Styles to find out who murdered his sister. So I'm flashing back to her background. And I wanted to break down all of the characters so that you can get to know the characters and understand them and have a closer connection with them. Colette came in early in the morning shift. Julianne handed her the recorder, crying, "Here's your evidence." She went into the private room to listen. Brandon was speaking. Soon after, she heard the crying moans of Julianne, and she turned the tape off and headed back to Julianne's room. She hugged her and apologized for doubting her. Picked up the phone and dialed the director. "This better be important. Trust me, you need to hear this." Colette told her everything. Juanita Wilkins got serious. "First thing, I'll meet with the both of you in the morning. Bring the recorder so he can't deny it." This chapter is called Court Confession. Julianne started her day with a cup of green tea, a newspaper, and much thought. She sat reading an article about a boy who had been abused before by someone he knew and trusted. It took her back to when she testified against Brandon Jackson. The fear was familiar. Okay, I'm gonna pause. So now it's 4 different people talking, so I'm gonna tell you who I am, and then I'm gonna say their line. So this is Brandon's lawyer. We're flashing back to the court case with Julianne and Brandon. You said that Brandon came into your room at night, is that correct? This is Julianne. Yes, that is what I said. Brandon's lawyer. Wasn't there other men working on those same shifts? Julianne. Maybe, I don't know. Brandon's lawyer. So there is a chance that it was not him. It was dark and you could not see. Judge responds. Order in the court. Young lady, I know that this is hard for you, but you have to restrain yourself, okay? Answered the question. Julianne. Yes, it could have been. Khaled comforted her after leaving the courtroom. If we don't get him now, we'll get him another way. She cried, she wiped her eyes, and she held her head up high. She became a woman that day and would never let a man or anyone else take that from her again. Julianne promised herself. This chapter is called William's Fiancé Doubts. William Blackwell was born out of rape to Julianne Stiles and Brandon Jackson. His fiancé took this into deep consideration as the words of the past came back to haunt them. Police tried to set him up several times, but it didn't work, so now they needed a new approach. It was a long, hard journey in their relationship, and much like a married couple, he had poured himself into her. She knew that he was adopted and therefore had abandonment issues. He always knew something was off and wrong about his relatives. They were different. The two had met each other a short time after high school, naturally clinging to each other. He did anything to protect her, and she would for him. The bond was unbreakable. So now I would like to have a Q&A with you. I would like to answer any questions, and I would, so anyone?
Yes. It seems like it's so many levels. Look at that last chapter. It talks about how it brings in the child that was the product of that union. So that kind of makes it really, there's more than one level to this. Does this book kind of talk about?
It's a lot of twists and turns, and most of them I tried to explain the background because I brought it from several different chapters in the book. Yes.
Okay, two questions actually. Is this fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Okay, it's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
What's your inspiration for writing something along this genre?
Well, I thought it was important to talk about rape and human trafficking is a tough subject. So when you bring it in a documentary way, it's like people kind of backing off of it. So I believe that if I talked about it in an entertaining sense, even though it's not, it's very serious, but people would be more enthralled and interested in it, and it would create awareness about human trafficking and the other things that are going on in this book. Anyone else?
Where did this subject come from?
The subject about the book?
Yes.
Well, in my life, I had experienced things connected to this, so it was deep to my heart, and also I had been around people that had been through similar things and bad experiences.
Yeah, I'm always interested. Tell me your writing process. How do you go about doing it?
It's really imagination. And then I take some real life stuff and news and what's all in this crazy head of mine as well, bring it all together and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, you have to do editing and, clean it up. And even now, I'm sitting here kind of cleaning it up and, Mm-hmm.
Jen, anybody help you with it? Besides your husband listening to
Well, you know what? My father was so helpful in this process because he went to writing school. And, he was able to...
Why's everybody laughing?
What?
Because my husband is listening.
My mother. What she had to do with it?
So my father really helped me. Anyone else?
Did you get any data or statistical information to get your to base your information?
But with here, what I'm reading here, I didn't need it, but in other areas in my book, I needed like trafficking information and how many people have been trafficked and.
Oh, okay, so your book is peppered with some statistics.
Yeah, true things.
From start to finish, how long did it take you to write it? Your skeleton, your outline?
Yeah, it's
the actual book.
probably close to 3.
How long is it, and why is it that you don't have the book here for sale?
Well, this, come on now.
Right. 2 questions. We all had that same question. First question. Right. Say something.
I think he's trying to say, what are you gonna do to get this book published and out here to the public?
Okay, so the published date is May 29th.
Okay.
And this is just promoting, I'm just getting it out there. People will know about it and start talking about it. And so I plan on publishing the book May 29th. So look out for it, Amazon.
You gonna use the media to publish in, the Facebook and all that good stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Is there?
Is this gonna be part of like a series, or is there a sequel to this, or is this
You know what?
some theme
Yeah.
that is gonna be merging from this?
I've already started on trade. That's the second, and that's actually delving into the trafficking world. This is more like introducing it. So.
Yeah, will the process for the second book take as long as the first?
Are you asking for me or you?
AJ, how many pages?
300.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So it's a page turner.
Oh, yeah. Gotta get into it.
Do you have your book cover done? And this is a cover? Okay.
Why Sunday Falls, Jen?
Sunday Falls, because at the beginning of the story, it talks about how him and his sister were, they were left parentless. They didn't have any parents. Their parents died in a car accident. So Dr. Anthony Stagler had to take care of his sister. He took over. They were both still young, but he ended up adopting her. And so they made a tradition to get together every Sunday and have dinner together. That was their thing. And she died on that day, so she's falling on that Sunday that they get together. Anyone else?
Where'd you get Stagner from then? Last name?
His names.
I'm just curious, it's not Brown or Smith.
No, I needed something that's gonna stick out. It gotta kind of ring to it.
What else do you read?
What do I read?
Yeah. When you're not writing.
I like mystery. I like suspense. Those are my main things to read. Yep. All right.
Another ringtone.